Hello, one and all, and welcome back to more Let's Play Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. I am the Max of Few Trades. In the last part, due to his many grievous wounds, Phoenix took up Apollo's case to try and get the astronaut Starbuck acquitted from the murder of Apollo's best friend, because he did not think he could do it. And we went off to do some investigating, and we went all over the Space Center, met some robots and some other eccentrics, as we are known to do. All in all, it was going kind of well and chill, all things considered, but there are some key moments and things that were said that are really kind of starting to concern me. I don't really know if I should be voicing these worries or not, but mostly because, I don't know, maybe part of me feels like, you guys are all seeing it too. So, I'll just hope that I'm wrong and that I'm gonna get swerved on the swerve. That would be ideal. But, yeah, yesterday's episode ended with Apollo just kind of being very oddly aggressive about everything. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. And, we're just gonna hope that everything works out. Where is the judge? Wait, well, hang on. We need the judge. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something.
Objection!
I think we probably should. Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. And also, just, throwing this out there, if there was, your bench wouldn't save you at all. Yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. You know what? That's perfectly fair. You had one actual bomb go off, you had a second bomb scare. It was a big mess, I admit as much. I mean, first, the courtroom exploded. Oh, we're getting the play-by-play. And then Mr. Tenate self-destructed. At least that one was substantially more comical, and nobody died. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tenate. I mean, his goggles blew up, so I mean, it counts. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tenate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? I'd certainly hope so. Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready, or are you going to continue to be kind of weird about this? Okay, a little of both, it would seem. All right, fair enough. I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time? God, he's so hard to read! Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. Yeah! You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. And not just because he's so damn old. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That is what we are hopefully going to find out. That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? We certainly did, so I can only assume he has like 4 times as many. Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Yeah, we saw that one too. It wasn't exactly subtle. I say that, but I also completely and utterly missed it, and it was actually very blatant. It was obvious. But just because I'm completely incapable of noticing things 3 feet in front of me doesn't mean it wasn't obvious. It just makes me oblivious. World of difference. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct. Surprising in that he's been correct every other time, so what the hell? Boy. So that means the testimonies of the first 2 people on the scene are suspect. And they are suspects! There were 2 people who claimed to be the first on the scene. Well, one of them is a suspect, the other's dead. But can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. The 2 people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? I mean, it certainly seems feasible. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's weird. It's like, This Cosmos guy is basically one of the only people left it could possibly be, but at the same time, and I don't want to say this because it just kind of seems, you know, hacky, but at the exact same time, Blackwell's sister, who we met by the way, kind of comes off like an utter psychopath. So, I almost want to say it was her, so I don't know. Certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. And dig we did. We dug that dig. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow. He killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm. I mean, she was a whole lot more than just a witness, but alright, dude, whatever. Definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has, once again, become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck, which is weird because, no. Like, you'd think he'd just start to assume we're right at this point. Fulbright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Right, I forgot about that. He has a grudge. Nevertheless, yeah, we learned so much about potential events that might have transpired 7 years ago, while at the same time, learning very little. It is, it's interesting. I'm sure it'll all come up later. The defense argues there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
Yes. To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. You're talking to the guy who successfully managed to turn a court case around by cross-examining an orca. Why don't you believe in me? There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotty already? Old man? I'm sorry, what?
Objection!
We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. God damn! Wow! Oh my god, that might have been the best comeback that Phoenix has ever had. That was awesome. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, the Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. You might know her, actually, Simon. It's possible. They saw a third person? Yeah, we would be cross-examining them, but they're kind of psycho. See, my sister has been running her mouth. Why do you two look nothing alike, by the way? That's right, I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. I don't know how you could have forgotten. They both give off the same similar aura of, we'll kill you. No matter. She didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. Then we're gonna have to do something about it. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? This is gonna be exhausting! Very well, bailiff. Please bring the witness to the stand. Does he get to keep his segue? Of course he gets to keep his segue. Of course he does. What? I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have! Of course you have! For I am Yuri Cosmos! Director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos! I doubt that immensely, actually. I think it was just fortuitous in the naming conventions. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat One, and nobody gives a damn! Much less this dude. Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Oh no! He's buttering him up! Even I'm trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. Kinda looks like your tear ducts got clawed out at some point, my guy, if I'm honest with you. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? Yeah, okay, sure, why not? Ha ha ha! I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my epical testimony? Epochal? Epoch, because of the... because it's like time, maybe? I don't know. That will be recorded in the annals of history. I do a pretty decent gruff voice, and it doesn't hurt that bad. Huh. That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now. It sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. Yeah, well, you yourself said that he seems to be entirely immune to sarcasm, so... It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Let's work with it! Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. All right. Behold, the first testimony in Phoenix Wright history to go on for 12 separate paragraphs. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Taryn lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I could only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Okay, but why though? I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. And just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity! But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said, and I said what I saw, and I saw what I see, and I seesaw, hoo-ha-ha! Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger. Risking my own life for theirs! Ha 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 ha! Well, what do you know? Sounds like the director really cares about his men, or at the very least, the optics that come from being around them. Yeah. Although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. He did do a very good job of managing to make it sound much more noble than it actually was. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. Yeah, I'm gonna have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. The only one I can really think that I want to press on would be, I think, the last one. Because he's just like, I could only imagine it was Starbuck. I'm like, okay, well, why can you only imagine it was Starbuck? What about all that stuff we did to prove that it might totally not have been him? Does that mean nothing to you? I guess we'll find out. All right, come on now. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Taryn lying on the floor. Actually, we could press this. Hold it! So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly, or what they were doing? Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person, standing motionless. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? I don't know, but I'm sure I'm gonna figure it out and then rub it in your face. Ugh. I'm so close, but without evidence, I can't prove that person's the third party. All right. I don't relish in this, but I gotta catch up. Anyway, and let's see. Come on. Hurry it up, Cosmo. To say, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Explain why. Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Taryn, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck, isn't that correct? I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder. Objection! And again, that's kind of what most people say right before they find out someone murdered someone. When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there! And I'll keep saying it over and over again, because it's all I've got. Isn't that correct, great Space Center Director? Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Taryn were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished. You mean they disappeared? That's odd. Objection! What? Why? I'm just saying it's weird. I didn't even do anything. The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. We all know that Starbuck has teleportation powers. Come on now. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. Hold it! You said that with a weird amount of certainty. Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene? Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. Okay, if you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? The direction opposite of the control room, the southern door to the elevators. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They would have been closer to it. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way. Objection! All right, what do you got? All things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well, I might not right now, but I could very much have some later. If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say, that is so specific, that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. What relevance does that have to anything? As long as they don't punish us in the name of sin. We got an Usagi reference! Let's go! But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. Oh, that's what that was supposed to mean. I'm gonna be honest. His weird analogies are getting stupider and more obtuse. I can't even parse what they're supposed to be trying to convey. It's weird. And he's right. I don't have any proof yet. Still. The southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Okay. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes? Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? Ha ha ha! There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arms saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? He responds with uncertainty. I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer. Yeah, I don't know about that. And you were able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun? Is that something you did? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly, and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. You don't say. This information about Detective Arm's action sounds critically important. You can say that. Please add it to your testimony. Alrighty then. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots at the figure. Alright, quick question. I only... did I have the bullet? Yeah, the bullet hole. Yeah, a single bullet hole.
Objection!
Where's this second bullet, Buster? Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? You doubt my words? Words that will someday be written down in history books? Bro, you can't rev a segue. How are you doing that? Somehow I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand? Yeah, okay, sure, why not? You say the Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. Like, no damage anywhere else. Like, come on. What? Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once. I feel like you'd remember if it was fired once or twice. And yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book.
Objection!
Okay, but he's right though. Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirmed that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun. Well, then what happened to the other bullet?
Objection!
Explain your face, why don't you? But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! Burn my face! Burn my face! Burn my face! You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun. The same caliber as the detective's gun. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, but isn't our bullet, yeah, from a .10 caliber? That's gotta be a small gun. What? It's okay, Phoenix, it's okay. It doesn't necessarily, mean anything. It's fine, it's fine. The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Okay, interesting. So I've got 2 bullets, but they have the exact same image. Why you gotta be all like that? All right, then fine. Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? Yes, we've talked about this at length in previous trials. And examining the rifling marks on a bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. What a shame. They could have taken out that seahorse monster, and the world would be so much safer now. The other bullet came to stop near the victim's oxygen tank. You don't say. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I'd better update the record. Yeah, you definitely should. You definitely should. All right. Very good. Now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arm fired, except we do not. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. 2 warning shots is 1 warning shot too many. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? No, it do not. I have more questions. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a 3rd person. Oh. Yes, oh. Oh, Riley, y'all. Very well, but it won't do us to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a 3rd person at the scene? Or at the very least, a 2nd gun. Oh, 1 bullet is much larger than this itty-bitty little bullet.
Take that!
But yeah, no, it's gotta be this. What is this metal pellet supposed to be? Judge, are you serious right now? Come on, dude. You have to have seen enough of these. Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In like a gutter ventilation thingy? I didn't even need a tool to open up the thing. That's like gotta be a safety hazard or something. I thought that place was for tourists. Anybody could have just opened that thing up and started poking at electronics. It was a terrible display. Anyway, in a floor gutter at the crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. So, you know, good job, dumbasses. Furthermore, this is a .10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers. That means... Exactly. 1 more person must have been there in the lounge with a really, really tiny gun! My music, okay. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. The 3rd person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with a gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us, and I just didn't see fit to bring that up in my testimony for some reason. Don't ask me why. What's this now? That's kind of freaking important. What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know? And I got a feel for Blackwell on that one. That's just stupid. Ugh, foolish old geezer. You know, you have a lot of ageist philosophies. I can't help but notice, Blackwell. You really got to knock that off. So Director Cosmos really had been hiding the presence of a 3rd person all along. Why he gotta be going and doing that? Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom, you're just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give accurate testimony. Come on! What you got? What I really saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Taryn on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Okay. Then why didn't I see any evidence of, like, of firing upon in that general area? That doesn't make any sense. Given that there was no 3rd person in the lounge when the witness entered, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? I mean, where would he even get a gun? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Yes? Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one, and it is you who is cut down. I mean... Not as often as people like to make it seem, honestly. Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the .10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police, nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
Ah! Why must you counter everything? Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. Oh, did you shove your head in there? Huh? Did you find a gun in there? The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
Okay, did anybody inspect it? You can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
Come on! It's up to you to prove that possibility. It's your job to constantly prove everything I say wrong. That's the dynamic! And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? I've long since forgotten about whatever that is. Is it the bird? Oh. Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. Ah, that's true, that's a thing. I did forget all about that. Admittedly, so did I. Look, your baldness. How deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that. Like a sashimi. Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot. What did it hit exactly? Thank you, Judge! It hit me. Hello? What? Does that mean you're a ghost? That would be pretty crazy. I was wondering when you would realize at your baldness. That he's a ghost? Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide He can even pass through walls? Ah!
Objection!
Judge, that's some bullcrap. Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again. Man, are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. Wow, that is miraculous. All right, well, unless I can get a look at that thing, I guess I can't contest that. That's unbelievable. I don't know, I've seen lots of stories about very innocuous things managing to save people from a bullet. Even loose change has managed it at least once. I have to check this out. Oh wow, look at that. There's one extra Yaxa star. Odds are literally astronomical. Oh, that's not a 4th star, that's a bullet hole. Wow. Huh. Kind of crazy how that ended up looking. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. Wow. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? Doctor. A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. But I guess my sentence was over. All right, I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. All right, I have a bit of an idea. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Alrighty, I just need to take a look-see-loo at my evidence. I need to see a little something. All right, let me see here. Yes, Detective Arm and I rushed to the thing and did the thing with the thing, ting. All right, hang on a second. Yeah, there we go. Discovered in a gutter that runs along the south wall of the board. Yeah, okay. I think that's, yeah, okay, because as it stands, we still only have like 2 bullets accounted for, but no. Okay, hang on. In the lounge, we saw a standing figure, which means, yeah, okay. Basically, it's purporting that this had to have been the gun of the defendant, which means they shot in that direction. If they shot in that direction, why was the bullet all the way on the other side of the room? A ricochet can happen, yeah, but generally it doesn't cause something to end up on the complete opposite side of a room, especially one as big as the one we were in. The game even made point to bring that up, you know? So,
Objection!
yeah. I'm buying it. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. A great man like me? Tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history? Yes, consistently. Lots of people in positions of power lie all the time. It's kind of what they do. My accusation is based on the positions of the people who are in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door. And the mysterious figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. Ba-ba-ba-bum! However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Way over there. Oh. Yeah, so what's up with that? This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round. You know, I was about to say it was interesting. We haven't seen, like, any kind of shocked reactions from this guy yet. And then he immediately, busted that one out.
Objection!
Impressive, honestly. Donk, donk. Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his metal? Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
Okay, cool. What does that prove? But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Are you claiming the presence of a magic bullet? Of course. I didn't think so. Oh, great Director Cosmos. Oh, hey, that's me. Yes, yes! Is there something you'd like me to pound upon? Say, do you want me to talk about it? You were, in fact, not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south. Is that not right? Yeah, sure, why not? What are you getting at? Donk, donk. Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. Of all people to say that, are you trying to tell me there aren't at least 3 different birds currently residing within your ponytail at this exact moment in time? Because I doubt it if you'd say so. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? It's very cool. Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness... Okay, well, fine. The director still freaking lied. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time... And there goes the shackles. Those really serve no point. Yikes! His handcuffs! You will become rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Mustard. Oh, all right, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. What? Just changing your mind? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you have lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? Donk, donk. The director and the detective were near the southern door. Yeah, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. Uh-huh. The western door requires print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. Dot, 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 dot. Dot, dot, dot. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. Okay. You don't see the issue in your line of logic, Blackwell? Alright, I guess I have to do it. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. Phoenix, settle down. We got this. My third person just disappeared. Like in one of Trucy's magic tricks. It's adorable that's where your mind went first, I gotta say. Man loves his daughter. Order in the court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? Dot, 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 dot. You were covering for the defendants. Isn't that right? Dot, dot, dot. Yes. It was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck! I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person! What a convoluted lie that definitely did not just fall out of your butt. Was he really covering for the defendant? Definitely not. It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If the third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wow, we're finally getting there, are we? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. Couldn't we, just for the sake of the argument, I'm just throwing some crazy theories out, couldn't we have his medal inspected to see what caliber of bullet bounced off his medal? I'm just saying, that could be relevant in a moment. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Yeah, you are definitely not doing that. Heck nah, heck nah. Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Oh? This had better be good, Mr. Wright. Oh, it'd be real good, I promise. There's one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Very well, let's hear more about this theory. You really couldn't just piece it together with what I said? All right. Who's the one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? Take
that!
It was this dangle dude. What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all. But that means... exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness, Director Yuri Cosmos! What? What? Dang. You didn't see that one coming, Athena? Granted, it's still kind of early into the trial and everything, but, I'm sure it's fine. Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and, well, let's just say, saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. I've been hit on the starboard side! Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir! A magnificent shot. We sank their battleship. Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. I am very grumpy and also a bird. Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit. I've been hit on the port side. The enemy has called in reinforcements. Earth to Cosmos Control Center. Requesting permission to ask you to return to reality. Why are so many people working at this space center cuckoo bananas? It's a weirdly consistent thing, I can't help but notice. But my ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
Okay. But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person or a Blackwell saw, this third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Yeah, sure, why not? It looks like you deduced my miraculous tale of survival. It's really important that we got this flashback because I didn't remember 10 minutes ago. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired that 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Let's go. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one there in the lounge. Urgh. Brace for further impact. I'm screwed. Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. I can only assume is the bullet.
Take that!
I can only, yeah, okay. The .38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. Thank you. And if that mark proves to be from a .38 caliber bullet, well, ding dang dong, you got yourself all wronged. Blech. It'll prove that you were the third person we've been looking for. The bridge is destroyed! Losing attitude! Losing attitude? Altitude! All hands abandon ship! If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? No! You got it all wrong! What? The engines have started again! Cool! It's a miracle! I'm not going down yet! Ah, hell. Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth. He refuses! If you don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth! Oh, are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? Have you not seen the amount of stars on my shoulder? Oh, God, okay. But the cosmos revolves around me! Oh, we got a spinner. Someone get me off of this thing! You having a Jetsons moment there, buddy? Order! Order in the court! Will someone please stop the witness from spinning? Criminy. Why gotta be all like that? Yeah, he mad dizzy is what he be. My goodness. Phew. Thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. Nope. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the metal. It was made by a .38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No! You got it all wrong! This is just a misunderstanding! Again, the trial is pretty, young at the moment, so I'm actually inclined to believe him. But I don't know how. Is he gonna start piling on more lies? It looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth! What? Oh, okay. To be continued. Huh. Okay. I was not prepared for that, actually. Why did it stop so suddenly? Well, damn, we're really close to the 45-minute mark, aren't we? Let me think. Well, I do have to say. I guess it would have to be Blackwell's sister at that point. I mean, otherwise, there's not really a whole lot else to go off of. Then again, I guess he really hasn't managed to convince us that he isn't responsible. I mean, I guess if you really think about it, he could have ran in, and I mean, I don't know why. I guess the real question is, why would he have a gun at all? But then the detective comes in, sees a dude with a gun, and then is all like, why do you have a gun? Jesus Christ, oh my God, rah, 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 and then, you know, fires. We don't know Detective Cam Disarm. We don't know this woman. Maybe she's a little trigger happy. It's certainly feasible. It's within the realms of possibility. You can't say that it's not. Very interesting. Okay. But, yeah. Then again, it almost feels almost too absurdly obvious for it to be Aura, right? I mean, she was just so freakishly suspicious. But then again, it's not like I haven't run across people who are freakishly suspicious and ultimately were, in fact, freakishly suspicious. So that definitely is possible. All right. Well, the good news is, my ruminating and theorizing has managed to push me over my minimum amount of time per episode. Sorry to have to pull that little tricky on ya. In the next part, I guess we'll figure out what the rest of this is all going to be. I do have to wonder if we're going to actually figure it out now, or is there going to be another investigation? I mean, how much more could we realistically investigate, really? Well, we'll find out right proper soon. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and just for the record, I'm still immensely concerned about the very large majority of the things that I've heard. Those small comments here and there that have been springing up all over the place. Yeah, I'm not a fan of those. Well, we'll see what all those mean later. Till then.